This episode of the AI Inside podcast is brought to you by your360.ai. Get 10% off through January 2026 when you use the code INSIDE. Google's Senior Director of Product Management for XR, Juston Payne, joins us to talk about why there's no one-size-fits-all in XR and how Project Aura fills a gap nobody else is targeting, how Gemini and spatial computing turned out to be a chocolate and peanut butter pairing that Google is baking in from day one, and why the smart glasses market today looks a lot like the iPhone before the App Store existed. That's coming up in the AI Inside podcast right now. Hey everybody, welcome to the AI Inside podcast, the show where we take a look at the AI that is layered throughout so much of the world of technology. I'm one of your hosts, Jason Howell, not joined today by my co-host, Jeff Jarvis, partially because the interview that we're going to do today totally took me by surprise. We're joined by Juston Payne, who's Google's Senior Director of Product Management for XR. I was invited to chat with Juston at the end of a really cool visit to Google's San Jose facility last week, where I had time testing a few different prototype XR hardware headsets. And among the devices being demonstrated was a previously unannounced headset called Project Aura. That's built in partnership with Xreal. The company is also shipping developer kits, working with Warby Parker and Gentle Monster, which we knew about, but they're going to be producing some consumer glasses that are launching next year. And Juston and I cover a lot of ground in this surprise interview that I was able to record while I was there. So let's get right to it. This interview with Juston Payne. Thank you.
So what do you think?
The invite.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, what did I think? You know, it's been interesting to get a kind of early glimpse at this stuff a year ago, and then to kind of see how things have shaped and how things have developed over the last year, and see kind of the company's vision of Android XR built out to be so flexible and fluid. And I think that's really important when you're launching a new kind of effort on for the operating system, is to make it really accessible and really easy for developers to get into. And I think it looks like that's been a high priority for you.
You really got it. Yeah, I mean, really, so much of the almost underlying message here is that Google sees XR as the next computing platform, and we think that this is going to be a major computing platform, and that's coming into existence now. Mm-hmm. And so, if you take that view on it, then the way that we see it is that it's really in its infancy. There's momentum out there for sure, but the history is not written at all. Headsets are doing well. They have a lot of traction in the gaming space, but there's a lot still to be done for bringing them out as more general computing products. And then on glasses, again, there's some good momentum out there, but it's early days. The reality is that we're still in an era where there's no smart glasses on the market that have an app ecosystem attached to them yet. So it's
true.
So it's almost like we're in this stage where, if you remember, like the iPhone launched and there was no app store at first. We're kind of in that era of smartphones.
Crazy to think that.
Yeah, isn't that wild? Yeah, it came out, and they found product market fit with some core use cases, and you see that we're doing the core use cases. But we think that the value that they have to offer to people's lives is really yet to come. And so with our launches that start next year, we're going to start to bring that to life as well. So when you look at it like that, to get to this huge opportunity for XR as a computing platform across these different types of form factors, you need a platform that scales nicely. It enables different types of devices out there. And you just have to make it easy on developers, because once you get somebody to put these things on, whether it's a headset or glasses or anything in between, they have to feel that they are getting real value for what they're doing. And where does that value come from? It comes from the apps, and it's going to come from the AI. So, first Google's first-party apps, you saw those in there, starting to show some third-party apps, things like from Uber, and then Gemini can do a lot of things too. So you stack all these things up, and here we go, broad platform, lots of devices, lots of great content, and so this is why we think that 2026, really big year. 2027 will be a really big year. And the space, I think, is now really ready to go.
Well, and there's a lot of growing kind of, I'd say, energy competition. Although what I'm seeing I mean, mind you, this is about as close as I've gotten to what is coming in 2026 and 2027 from these form factors. But what it seems like Google has the real advantage with is the overall kind of ecosystem control, access, all of the resources to make that kind of a soft landing for developers, because it's always the chicken and egg game, right? Like if you don't have people creating things for the new platform, then there's not enough there that's enticing for people to come through the door and be interested in everything. I think it puts Google into a really strong position with this new form factor that's building steam.
That's how we feel too. You made such a good comment when we were talking in the other room, which is by making it so that developers can see what their experiences do without them doing anything, they'll hopefully get inspired to then say, oh, but hey, this is a really cool form factor, glasses are. They do have these really nice properties to them. They can understand the world around you. They have this private interface with you. So hey, like maybe my users, maybe my customers could get some special value out of this. But the nice thing there is that for us, it's all about a kind of like optional upgrade path. So by doing nothing, as long as they have some notifications or widgets, if they built widgets for the watch, notifications for the phone. If they've done any of that stuff, then they have to do nothing else. And then if they want to hop into Android Studio, Jetpack XR, and add some cool features for glasses, they already know how to do that. They already have Android developers. They don't have to hire anybody special for that.
Well, I think we've talked a lot on the podcast, Android Faithful, and before that, all about Android. The story of Android over the years has been Android really strong as a smartphone form factor, and the approach and the openness and all that, really powerful. And then when tablets kind of became a thing, got a lot of criticism because the experience for the tablet wasn't quite kind of shaped around the device, or at least that was the thinking at the time. And part of the reason for that was because I think developers did have to kind of do a lot of work to support that.
Right.
And so there's a little bit over the decade and a half, there's kind of a built up kind of wariness or hesitancy to be like, or there's the flip side of this, which is, Google launching a thing and then a couple of years later being like, actually, we're not going to do that anymore. Stadia or whatever the case may be. This occurs to me to be like hey, no, this can exist. You don't need to do anything extra for it. And like we were talking about in the demo, once they see I didn't need to do anything and this is what I got, that's so cool. Maybe that's the incentive to be like, oh, okay, maybe we will, because if we do just a little bit more, this can be even better.
Yes. I love how you put these things.
Sorry, am I saying all the things that you normally say?
No. I mean, it's just like it's so great. I mean, it's so nice talking to somebody who's so fluent in the space. Because you know the history, you understand the actual dynamics of things. Like, what's exciting for developers? What do they maybe want to hold back from?
Sure.
What's some precedent that they could pattern match it? Like, it's really nice to talk about it. And so, where I can then build on this is to almost talk a little bit about why is Google so excited about this, and almost unpack a bit of our approach here. Like, one of the patterns you've certainly noticed is like the areas that Google has really in it for the long haul is when product areas directly align with our main strategic priorities. And so there's two things kind of going on in the XR space which are really aligned with where Google's really excited. One of them is, of course, platforms. So Google generally gets very excited when there's an opportunity to bring apps and services to more users via a new platform. We've done that many times over the years. So, you start on PCs and, like laptops and such. You go to phones when the phone platform emerges. Oh, great, wearables are coming into existence. We should be there. Home devices, TV, auto. So whenever these new platforms arrive, Google gets excited because, oh, great, like this is a nice new way to add value into people's lives. And there's a whole business model attached to that. That's great news. So that's one thing. So we do see XR as this new platform where there's a huge opportunity to add value to users' lives. It's great for developers. That whole thing works. The second thing is, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a Google employee, it happens to be that this form factor is perfect for multimodal AI. It's just remarkably good.
Totally agree.
It's like remarkably good for it. And so with Google's emphasis on Gemini, you've probably seen how successful Gemini 3 is. It's performing incredibly well. It's a multimodal AI. We're making the investments to make it so that it can take in all these rich signals, physical world, digital world, your context, your voice, all these things. And it's fast enough so that you can have a conversation with it. That just so happens to be perfect for XR devices because it's like, in a headset, it needs to be able to understand the screen, your gestures, what are you looking at, what do you intend by the words that you're saying, and then take action on your behalf. In glasses, it needs to understand what's going on around you in the real world. It needs to be connected to your phone so it understands what's happening in your digital world. Take all of that together and understand what you want in the moment. So it's like, they end up being this perfect form factor for Gemini to really perform well. So then when you add these two, it's a huge new platform that is perfect for AI. You can see where Google's excitement for this space really comes in.
I'm going to butt in here just real quick and throw a huge thank you to our patrons, our amazing patrons, for without them, we couldn't do this show at the level that we are right now. Patreon.com/AI Inside Show. You can support us like BV Mir, CCO Mario, and Maklit Edane, just 3 of our amazing patrons. There's so many of them. Thank you for your support. And a quick break to thank our sponsor of this episode, Your 360 AI. Now, you may remember last week, I had Jared Goralnik, who's CEO and founder of Your 360, on the channel to demo that product. And I found it super compelling, enough so that I'm actually going through the process myself. So what is Your 360? Well, career development has become a real anxiety point for a lot of people, right? Job expectations, they're shifting all over the place. AI reshaping workflows. It's harder than ever to know where you stand and what to focus on next. And lack of career development is the number one reason people quit their jobs, which means this isn't just an individual challenge. It's something managers and team leads really need to stay ahead of. And that is what Your 360 is all about, right? It's a conversational AI feedback platform that gives you real clarity about your strengths, your growth areas, how others experience working with you. You get the kind of depth that usually takes months of coaching or a costly executive level 360. And here's how it works. Your 360 has real 15 to 20 minute voice conversations with you and also with the people that you work with. And then it's really digging into the specifics, the how behind what you do well and where you can grow. And then it synthesizes everything into a coaching conversation with a clear and actionable plan. And if you're a manager, this is a powerful development tool. Your 360 can aggregate insights across a whole team to surface patterns you'd never see in a written survey. One project manager at Dropbox actually called it the most helpful, actionable career advice I've ever gotten. That was the quote, which tells you exactly who it's built for. Ready to start the year with real clarity? Well, visit your360.ai. Make sure and use code INSIDE. You'll get 10% off through January 2026. That's your360.ai, code INSIDE for 10% off. And we thank Your 360 for supporting the AI Inside podcast.
Looking at some of Google's legacy products like the Maps demo, something along those lines, right? Like at this point, Google Maps is a ubiquitous product. It's just something that people rely on. They don't think twice about it. There have been features that have come and gone throughout the Maps app, but at the core of it is here's information about the world that surrounds you, and here's how you get from point A to point B. There's a very few key things that most people use them for. And in the glasses experience, being able to kind of engage with that on a kind of a more immersive level, it just reinvigorates the kind of the value proposition of that. Like being able to actually step into a restaurant, whether it was shot with immersive mode or not. Cool. It looks so convincing that it does give you that feeling of like, oh, I know what it's like to be in there. I want to go there. Yeah. That place looks like a chill vibe that like is perfect for me on this date or whatever the case may be. And that's a really cool experience. It really is. And it's like, it's one of these, like as a user, I love it. It's amazing to be able to
as you said, like sort of step into place, get a feel for it. Does this feel right for what I'm looking for? That's great. And then it's also one of these very like user-centric applications of AI tech where, you know, that pipeline that we talked about. So you take UGC, so user-generated content. Somebody snapped a photo, uploaded it to Google Maps, and that was that.
And probably didn't even think very much beyond that.
Yeah, they're trying to get the like.
I'll share it.
Yeah, they want to get their like local guides points, whatever it is. Yeah, sure. Yeah, put it out there.
Totally.
Yeah, whatever it is. Kudos to them.
Yeah.
So they do that. Now, meanwhile, we have VO3, so we can take that picture, and there's, you know, a back end that takes a still picture, asks the tech that powers VO3 to now imagine this as a video, turn it into a video. So, okay, cool. Now VO3 does its thing. It imagines from that picture what it would be like to actually move through that space. What would a video look like? A few different perspectives. You take that video, turn it into a Gaussian splat. And then you take that G-splat and then you put it back into Maps XR. So there's like this amazing kind of AI tech pipeline that we can use to deliver this user experience that is, it actually feels very simple and natural, but with this incredible tech behind it, which is so cool. And then similar thing on glasses, where it's like that experience, you know, where's like a great chicken, fried chicken around here. This is stuff that we're used to doing. What's nice in glasses is that we have Gemini now built so that it can hook into the Maps experience. So without ever typing anything into a phone or taking your phone out at all, you can find a chicken sandwich experience. It, like, you know, in the real world, it would use the camera to localize you so that you never head in the wrong direction. You can talk to Gemini along the way, you know, so as you're going, by the way, you could be like, hey, is there anything cool down that alleyway there? You know, like any good.
Or should I not go there?
Yeah, maybe that's like the wrong alley. Like, what do you think, Gemini? You know, and then as you saw, like you look down, we can reinterpret the famed Google Map as like a new format. So there's all these opportunities to take something that, as you said, billions of people use. They know it and love it, Google Maps. But like, these are special form factors. So what can you do with them? How can you apply technology to make real new value? And it's just such a huge opportunity that we're really excited about. So I got to share a personal story. It just made me think of it.
Yeah.
I was on a family trip in Rome over the summer.
And we had there last year.
Oh yeah. Okay. Then you'll be able to picture this.
Yeah.
So I was there with my family. We have 8 and a 9, or it was actually 9 and 10-year-old at the time. And I put those glasses onto my 10-year-old.
And which of those glasses are you talking about?
The first ones that you tried, the monocular prototypes. The monocular. The ones that we'll give to developers as a dev kit. So I put those on my 10-year-old, and I was like, where do you want to go? So, I want to get gelato. Okay.
Pretty easy to do.
Yeah, pretty easy. So then that Maps experience comes up, and it, you know, the little place card, you know, walk 300 meters, like, okay, turn right. So then my wife's daughter and I could then follow our 10-year-old through the sort of winding streets of Rome while he navigated us.
That's amazing.
To a gelato place, as if like the kid lives there.
He's like, follow me, you guys. It's cool.
Yeah.
I've got the magic glasses on.
And there's something about it. It's like there's something about that like 10-year-old test. You know, it's like if they can just get it in this way, and they have these magic glasses on that let them get to wherever they need, then you kind of know that you're onto something. That's like you've taken, like, of course Google Maps, we didn't invent Google Maps on the XR team, that exists, but like the ease of that experience really spoke to me about just like kind of how different it is in these form factors. Yeah,
I mean, exactly like what you were saying earlier, kind of the the app existed as one way, and then the perfect kind of synergy of that particular hardware for this moment in time, which is something that I firmly believe in. I think that this is the right form factor for interactive, always contextualizing AI. You know, it's such a sharp and largely overlapping Venn diagram as far as that's concerned. Can I show you something?
Please.
Okay.
That's exciting.
This is
so rare. So rare am I shown things. So
Can I show you a demo?
Yes, please do. What do we got?
Oh, of course.
Oh, Google Glass.
Google Glass.
Yes, a piece of our history.
Yes, indeed.
There it is.
Since I was invited to the Google campus 13 years ago and did a whole video on trying it on.
Is this the original one?
This is the original.
This is the original Glass Explorer.
This is the original. I don't know if it boots up anymore.
Belongs in a museum.
I have it in a museum. I have it on my bookcase behind my main shop in my studio. So,
yeah.
You know, this is a relic, but I look at this device and more I'm like, say what you will about what Google Glass was back then and how people sharply reacted to it either positively or negatively, right? It had a lot of really visceral reaction.
Yeah.
But I think the Google Glass is a symbol of being far ahead of its time. This was a product that Google released, and it looks alien. It looks kind of science fiction-y, which is going to appeal to some people and totally repel others.
Yep.
The public kind of backlash around the camera, and is it recording all the time and everything? Like there's the overlay in the prism of the on-screen navigation.
Yep.
I mean, this was just 13 years ago, and this is what the technology looked like.
Yeah.
Now we've got regular glasses that do all these things and more. Tell me a little bit about kind of the evolution from where you started with this to where you are now, and how the lessons that you learned from Google Glass have shaped what you showed off today.
No, it's such a fun thing to get to talk about. Glass, when you go back and you watch, as I actually did recently, I actually mentioned this. I gave a talk at AWE where, in thinking about what I wanted to talk about, I actually went back and I watched the original Glass vision video, and
now was this an internal video or a public?
No. It's a public. It's actually if you should
go to the YouTube channel or the
I'm
Google
sure that
channel.
you saw it like 13 years ago.
I'm sure I did.
Yeah, I'm sure that you saw it. And I actually had remembered it. It's why I wanted to go back, because I remember when I first saw it, and it shows a guy wearing glass walking around New York City. And he's getting these perfectly timed pieces of information where he was going. And there's this one vignette that really resonated with me, which is that he was about to walk into the 6 train and it said subway services suspended or something. And I was like, that is the best product vision. This is truly shut up and give take my money kind of moment.
Sure.
Where I was like, that is so incredible. How is this possible? Now, the thing, as it turned out, it wasn't quite possible yet. But the vision, I think, was right, actually, which is that this idea of a product that can subtly give you the information that you want so that you kind of have a better experience in the real world is, I think, exactly the right vision. And it's what we're working on. The things that were missing, there were a few things missing at the time, and what a gift 13 years can be.
Yes. Only 13 years.
Yeah, only 13 years.
Eternity.
Yeah, so I was not yet a Google employee, but all credit to the team for the incredible vision, that they had for this. The things that were missing were, one, the hardware wasn't quite there. So I think that, as it turns out, having direct line of sight displays actually do matter. Just being able to put things kind of where people naturally look and then get it into an eyewear form factor. That tech didn't exist yet, and so that's progressed.
Versus this, where it was sitting kind of slightly up. Is that kind of what you mean?
Sitting up, not embedded in a lens. It was very hard to do prescription lenses.
You had to be really in the right sweet spot in order to see that tiny little prism.
It was that, and even just having it look like eyewear. As it turns out, it wasn't possible yet. Things like battery tech and compute tech and and the size of the actual processor, it just wasn't there yet, And so getting it to look literally like a pair of normal glasses just wasn't possible back then. Now, actually, credit to their design team. They worked with these constraints and came up with a pretty
they leaned into the limitation.
They did. I mean, this is it's an iconic design. They came up with something that I think was very innovative. But okay, fair enough. As it turns out, people, for their smart glasses, they want them to look like glasses. So that tech didn't exist back then. It does now. So that's number one. You're seeing in our approach and partnerships with Warby Parker, General Monster, we're now using where tech is to be able to take an eyewear first approach. Just wasn't possible back then.
Totally.
Two other things: there was no platform back then, and so the apps, the content story, the developer experience, everything that we've been talking about, it wasn't there. So, the company invested a lot. There were VCs, trying to stand up this ecosystem, but it's hard, as you were saying, it's hard to convince developers to spend their resources on a brand new thing. Yeah. So in the absence of a platform, it was hard to get a ton of content on there. So that's changed. That's new. Obviously, we learned from that.
Yeah, Glass is the perfect illustration of what we were just talking about.
Yeah, it's a really good illustration. Amazing tech, really big promise, but a little bit tough to build for. Okay, so we learned from that.
Sure.
Third thing, there was no AI back then, and you really need AI. AI makes them a lot easier to use. It makes them a lot more powerful. And so in the absence of it, it wasn't quite the right experience, and great. Now AI's here, Gemini's here, everybody's happy. That's great. So it's like, I look at this and I'm like, it really was the right vision. I think it was like ahead of its time in the sense that the things that it needed to succeed weren't quite in place yet. And that's okay. I think that one of the amazing things about the tech industry, frankly, one of the reasons I wanted to work in the tech industry in the first place, is like you get to push boundaries. Like sometimes you're gonna like push and the things won't be quite ready, but sometimes you push and things are ready. And then you can really make a meaningful change in the world and hopefully improve people's lives and things. And nice thing about glasses is I do think these things have come together now. So now the time's right. We can sort of honor the vision and do it differently now.
Hey, bumping in here one last time real quick. We have a bunch of really cool interviews coming up later this month and into next month. Seriously, you're not going to want to miss them, especially if you like this interview. Head to youtube.com/@AI Inside Show or just search for AI Inside Show on YouTube and subscribe so you don't miss them. All right, quick break, then back to the interview.
Time's right for the technology. Has the societal kind of resistance of always on technology on everybody's face, and now that we're talking about this form factor, it was easy to know when you walked into a room someone was wearing this, you're like, oh, okay, I don't know how I feel about that. But when it's just a regular pair of glasses, which is a great thing for this technology, I don't want to have to wear something that looks like a robot on my face. I just want to wear. But the person on the other side might not know that because, dang, it looks like a really convincing pair of regular glasses. Do you think things have changed enough there to enable that or to support it? We've
definitely seen a lot more kind of just cultural acceptance, I would say, of cameras like in general. Glasses are included, but the norm is that you go anywhere.
13 years later, right? Like everybody's filming everything.
Everything's filmed all the time. From the glasses that are in the market, it seems like they're being pretty well accepted. Just norms have shifted, so there's that. Okay. The thing that Google and our team can directly control is just making sure that we're taking an approach that we can really stand behind. And so for that, it's all about setting a really high bar. So, we are making sure that if the camera is ever recording, there's a very bright indicator light so that people know. There's also a user-facing light to tell you as a user that your camera is recording, for example. We'll leverage the full Android permissions framework. So just as on a phone right now, you have to grant permissions, for apps to be able to access certain sensors. So too on glasses. There'll be a whole set of sort of data retention policies, hard security promises, all this kind of stuff. So we are actually really leaning in here to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to make sure that these are, privacy preserving, responsible devices as well. So,
Time for like one more question.
One more question? Yeah. Got to ask about the Xreal partnership.
Oh, yeah.
Xreal, obviously a cool company. They're doing a lot of cool things.
Yeah.
I'm waiting on some hardware to test out from them, actually. And I was like, oh, I wonder, as we're demoing it, it's probably not the same thing. It's probably something completely different. But I'm curious, when we're talking about what Aura was, the demo a year and a half ago, let's say at Google I/O, and then now we've got the Xreal glasses, which are definitely a different take. It seems like the same at heart, but this is the Xreal approach is kind of like the Aura glasses from a year and a half ago, but kind of smashed together with the Galaxy XR, let's say. It's really kind of taking the glasses form factor. They aren't quite as normal glasses because they have an extra layer of display in there. But I'm curious to know kind of how that partnership has come about and how that's happened.
Yeah, totally. So, we should actually start with a partnership with Samsung in a way, which is that, so Google and Samsung work together developing Android XR itself as a platform, with Galaxy XR being the first launch vehicle. Now, something that Google and Samsung, of course, always agreed on is that it's a platform. Mm-hmm. So the platform then needs to be able to run on a multitude of devices. And you'll never have like a one-size-fits-all for a category like headsets. It's vastly too broad. You're going to want some people who want full immersion, extremely high specs, basically all the bells and whistles. And so Galaxy XR is that, but then the platform needs to be able to support users who have different needs. And that's where then products like Xreal Aura come in. So great. So Xreal, they've been a leader in the space of these wired XR glasses for a while. Their usage patterns are episodic, so if people don't wear their Xreals around when they're off. Like, you put them on and to watch a movie.
You have a reason for putting them on.
Yeah.
Versus they just being just a piece of clothing or something.
Yeah, exactly. Which, just incidentally, that's the main divide in terms of our thinking that we see between something that's an episodic and a like all day device. Okay. So like AI glasses, the ones that will come from Warby Parker and General Monster, if those are off, we think that people will still wear them because they're just eyewear, just like normal glasses. Right? Mm-hmm. So Xreal has been this sort of like leader in this wired XR glasses space. So it actually became very natural to say, hey, what if you plugged it into an Android XR system? And there it is. So then working with Xreal is very much like, okay, first and foremost, it's an Xreal device. Their customers have expectations. They should be able to plug it into their Nintendo Switch or some arbitrary device, and it should work like an Xreal. But Xreal knows that, like, as with all devices, they want to have content. Like they want to have access to all the apps. And as an XR device, they want full spatialization. They want spatialized windows. They want AI, so they want all these things. And so then this whole sort of opportunity started to emerge where it's almost like, well, what can we do with that? And that puck that you saw that it plugs into, it's essentially, if you want to think of it like this, it's like you sort of take the compute system from Galaxy XR. So it's the XR2 Gen 2 chip, and like a lot of the rest of the system, that now sits in the puck. So what that means is that by plugging your Xreal into it, you get that Android XR experience. It runs the Android XR apps, and then you can have that actually sit alongside something like a Nintendo Switch that you also have plugged into the puck.
You can choose to plug those glasses into whichever one you want. Does the puck come with the glasses, or what?
Yeah, exactly. So they'll be sort of like sold together, and then by doing this, you get this really interesting system where you have access to all everything that Android XR offers. You can then plug in other devices. The whole input system of hands work across things, so you can actually control, as you saw, like a PC, like literally like a PC laptop with your hands, while you have a YouTube Android XR, app running alongside it. And you can do all these like wild things. So ultimately, it's us saying we're excited to extend our platform to more form factors. Xreal's been a leader in this space, and so we're all very excited about that.
Yeah, they're doing some really cool things.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's been a wonderful experience.
So fun talking to you.
Yeah, fun talking with you too. I'm thrilled to get the opportunity to check it out, step by step.
Yeah.
Appreciate the opportunity.
Cheers.
Once again, a huge thank you to Juston Payne and the rest of the Google team for the invite and the access. It was really a ton of fun. And on my personal YouTube channel, search for Jason Howell, you can see a whole video that details all of the announcements deeply, including Project Aura on a deeper level. My experiences, everything is there. Don't forget, Jeff wasn't here, but jeffjarvis.com for all of the things that he's up to. You definitely want to check it out. And anything about this show can be found at aiinside.show. If you want to subscribe to the podcast, get access to audio, video, links to Patreon, it's all there. And then if you really, really love this show, leave us a review. And then even further, you can become a patron. Patreon.com/AIInsideShow. You'll get ad-free shows, access to a Discord community. If you're an executive producer, you get an AI Inside t-shirt. They're really nice. They must be, because we've got 10 executive producers right now. Dr. Do, Jeffrey Maricini, Radio Asheville 103.7, Dante St. James, Bono Day Rick, Jason Neifert, Jason Brady, Anthony Downs, Mark Starcher, and Karsten Samashki. Thank you all so much for your deep, deep support. And thank you for watching and listening. We'll see you next time, just a couple of days from now, on another episode of the AI Inside Podcast.